Cotroneo. So today we are here with HairRaiserfellowship. I'd really love it if you could donate to the cause because it hits really close to home. More people die of suicide than people dying in a car crash. So it's really confronting, and if we support this cause, then maybe we could support all those people out there. So, on a happy note, my dad, Dario, Cotroneo.
Love you, beautiful. All right, so thanks, Nicola. And look, I'm really proud to do this session with my beautiful daughter, Nicola. She obviously takes after her mother. And I'd like to thank Stevie for inviting me onto this platform to really support this cause. With Nicola, what we decided, we're going to really look at around the shoulder areas where we're going to compress to really create more of a stretch profile. So the technique we've come up with is a compressed shape. We're going to start off doing this really curved shape through the sides, circular section over the ear, and then a smiley face at the back. Now once we've locked that in, we're then going to put these 2 incisions through the top, and then we're going to cut that, and that'll be disconnected, that'll be underneath, without cutting the top layer. And then this really important technique, because all the work's done underneath, nothing's done on top. So therefore you can't see it, but the guest is complexed and confused with why does my face look different? And so we really focus on where we want the belt of the haircut to be. And the belt is the area that we have that compression area falling. So for hairdressing terms, that's layering. But we don't like to call them layering because layering is a very old word. It's a dirty word where guests actually get quite resistant because to most guests, they're thinking it's an old-fashioned technique. So therefore you're stuck in a very old conversation. So once we've created this beautiful silhouette and we've compressed this area through here, we're then going to work through the front and put in a beautiful fake wing. So we don't actually break the base of the haircut. We give it a beautiful gentle wing, and it's really effortless. So I hope you enjoy our beautiful compressed shape. To start off, we're going to work with 1, 2, 3, then we're going to come round, back around. Now the lower you take this shape, the more you're going to affect your thickness. So really the only consideration we have to have is that if the higher we come up, more conservative, the lower we take it down, the more density we're going to remove. So once we've sectioned one side, we'll go straight through. We're just balancing off this sectioning. Okay, so finishing this off, it's looking good. Very fussy in my sectioning. These techniques, by the way, are absolutely really fast. So this technique in the salon floor will take you maximum probably 7 to 10 minutes from sectioning to execution. And then you can spend the rest of your time detailing your perimeter. I like to do my shape first and then going into my perimeter. Okay, so just a tip before we secure this area is the worst thing you can do in this technique is come too far forward. So that's why we suggest 1, 2, 3 combs width back and really taper back the sectioning just to ensure that you're allowing as much thickness. Now before you lock this down, you really have to look at the perimeter and saying, am I happy with that thickness? Because once we've cut these incisions on either side, the density away, it's permanent. So you really want to make sure that you're being really present and aware of the commitment that you're about to make. All right, so we've got a curved shape through here, we've got it slightly raised through the sides, and we've got it curved through the front. Now again, how low you go with this back section is entirely on how much you want to involve in the compression. So looking at this thickness, I'm happy with that thickness, so we'll tuck it down. But I spent a lot more work on the actual sectioning, the design. You know, we have this philosophy that every sectioning pattern that you create has a design code, a unique design code. You want to make it incredibly difficult for anyone to copy your work, and your guest has to know that this is specifically for her, bespoke. And we're creating this shape based on an invisible problem that you've raised, not as a problem, more of a suggestion that if we created compression through the shoulder area, that would really give the illusion that this area has the belt really compressed and really slimming. Because in hairdressing, in my mind, we're really selling desire and the aspiration of happiness, and I believe salons are a weight loss center. So the ultimate experience for guests is when we take the cape off, that the guest looks at themselves and sees a new version of themselves. Not the past version, not a repeat version, because that's quite a stale relationship. So I just want to see how long I can talk while my daughter's still holding her hair. So she's doing a good job. I was waiting for you to just go, oh my God, this hair is so heavy. Okay, so now we're up to placing our internal sectioning. So the sectioning markers that we like to use is the width of the comb. So we're going to go width of the comb, and put a slight curve into it going inward. Once we've done both sides, the middle panel will be secured, and then we're ready to cut. Okay? Okay, so with the remaining hair, we're going to clip that forward and secure that at the front, just out of the way. You can either secure it at the back or the front. For the purpose of the video, I'll bring it forward so you can see what I'm doing. Now, one of the unique propositions that we have with the way we cut within our methodology is that it's very much about designing that unique design code that really is going to work magic into that fabric and solving and realigning bone structure. So with Nicola here, we're really going to give her this area through here on the sides. We're going to be taking out that density there. Okay? So what I'm doing now is just really checking that density to make sure that we've got an evenness on either side. Okay, so we're now ready to put the marker in, taking half the section on the side, bring that down to the area that we want to compress, then lift that up and place your marker in there. So we'll go there and we'll edit that out. Really soft, place that in. And it's really important that you elevate it up high and place your marker in. So just checking where that's falling, happy with that. And then lifting this up. Now you can see that I've got Nicola turned away from the camera, and that's something that I often do when I've got a new guest in the salon. I'll turn them away from the mirror. I'll do all this work away from the mirror because I need to be focused on the silhouette, the shape, all the elements without distractions of managing someone's insecurity on trying to understand the technique, particularly if it's a new technique. When you're creating new beginnings with your salon guest, you really need to manage the expectations as also the process. I like to look at my internal shapes like balayage. I love to see haircuts looking lived in, looking really comfortable internally. And then you can complement the outer side frame with a nice unlining finish, a really expensive finish. You have yin yang in the haircut, and that makes the haircut very sustainable. I find a lot of younger hairdressers very fearful of creating a shape internally, purely because of the projection from their guests into they don't want layers. But I guarantee you, when you walk around society and you see people with flat profiles and quite broad through their lower neck area or jawline area, they need volume, and they need sustainable volume, because the bigger the hair, the smaller they feel, but they don't know what they don't know, and they really need a hairdresser believing in a new concept for them moving forward, not a technique that's going to scare them with the language or perhaps no confidence. So really, hairdressing for me comes down to, if you believe this is going to help her, she will believe it's going to help her. But that's why we practice to really understand why this technique will work on your salon guests. So lifting this up, just going to make sure I've got an evenness within my meshing. But I really love this technique, it's stunning, because it's going to give me, on the ends of the hair, a more dustier feel. Okay, there's my guideline there. Just going to make sure we are in the middle. Just going to get rid of my excess. And I do encourage hairdressers, when you're going through this stage, just to slow it down. It's a very quick technique. So look happy. Believe in hairdressing, we're selling joy, we're selling happiness. And I often see hairdressers go through this and look really, they're running on adrenaline and they're looking really frustrated or disappointed with what they're looking at. Or perhaps nervous, and it really sends the wrong message, I believe, to a salon guest. And if a guest says to me, I don't like my hair chipped into or thinned out, one of the questions I recommend that you say in your consultation is, when you leave today, do you want to look brand new or do you want to look lived in? Do you want to look prettier? Most women will probably say, I want to look lived in and prettier. So therefore you then have to suggest, well, I'm going to use this technique in my compressed shape. It's really going to age the perimeter of your hair, the internal part of your haircut, so it looks really comfortable and lived in. So therefore you're covering yourself. And then when you are doing this, and again, this is where the mirror is. I'll turn my guest away from the mirror so she can't see what I'm doing. But if she gets a glance from another mirror and she has a little bit of a panic attack because she's becoming conscious of what she's receiving, and she says, "Are you chipping into my hair?" And she's projecting nervous energy. I said, "No, I'm pointing into it." The difference between chipping and pointing. So we have to elevate the conversation. And if I'm going in really vertically into her hair and creating a really nice feathered finish, lived-in finish, and I'm creating about 8 weeks worth of aging, yeah, it's amazing. So the thicker the hair, the deeper the blade. That's how it works. You've got to really be conscious to make sure that you're going in deep enough. Okay, so just checking my balance, really happy with that, really feathered. So now this is really the most important part. So now, once you've checked your balance through both sides by seeing them kiss together, we're now going to take out the clips and we're going to brush it all out. So I'm going to get you to turn right around, just about there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is take out our clips underneath. So using a brush and not your comb because you want this to feel good. See within this shape through here, this area through here, that's where your shape is in your belt, in that. That's the area we wanted to compress. So that's why I love hairdressing, because the idea of design and shape, it's not about testing and trying something out, it's knowing that it's going to work. And what we've done here is we've now created shoulder pads underneath this area here and through here. And so then we're going to unclip this top area, and that's going to diffuse everything over the top and soften what we've done. And the shorter hair underneath will push the longer hair up and give you that support. And that's really what women want. Women want to see that progressive modern silhouette. They don't want to see downward energy haircuts that make them feel old and tired. They want to see something that's enhancing. And one of the biggest tips that I give hairdressers is you can spot a woman walking into your salon that you know will not want layers. So what I often do is, as soon as someone walks in and we sit down in our consultation, is you want to solve a meaningful problem. And sometimes people just don't realize that they've actually got a problem because they're stuck in their past. So it's up to us to really provoke and be thought-provoking and saying to the guest, looking at their profile before you start, and being suggestive and saying things like, interesting. And she says, what? And you said, well, I think looking at your profile, you've got a dominant chin. If we gave you volume diagonally with your chins, will pull that chin back. Is that something to be open for? Give you a really nice, pretty silhouette. So if we're selling desire with purpose, that's where we become more convincing. And I think that's the space that we as a business, and I know myself I'm very passionate about, is really help elevating hairdressing up and really guiding people to a really beautiful place versus just repeat their past by trimming their hair consistently and not being innovative. And you really create that suspicion and also the enthusiasm of you're excited, so therefore I'm excited. But I think in hairdressing it gets lost because people are so busy doing haircuts they're not confident with and doing hairdressing techniques. And I think that's where it's got to change from edutainment to education. I think too many times when I see platform artists and I see hairdressers trying to entertain the client in their conversation versus solving a meaningful problem with a really deep technique that's going to change the way she reacts to you next time she comes in, because you've changed the way her face looks. You've changed her style currency because people are coming up to her all of a sudden saying you look amazing. So she has currency now. So that's the space that I'd love to see us go in hairdressing. And I'm really grateful that I've got this opportunity to share it with our Australian hairdressing community. So looking at this shape, so again, we'll just tilt Nicola to the side, and so you can see this profile, so you'll bring it down, you'll lift that up, and you can see the space that now we've created internally, front on. You'll be able to now see that she's got shoulder pads either side. They're very subtle because we chose a compression belt area around her shoulders. Now, if, say for instance, we wanted to raise that belt, then we'd simply go shorter with our marker that would influence our shape. But it's very strategic in the way you place, where you place your marker to what you're trying to achieve. So to do this wing, we're going to be combed width into the hairline. We're going to come back through here after 1, 2, we're going to create a curve, and we're going to cut back into a V. So we're going to curve top, and we'll do the same through here, back, and then we'll create a curve. Now the importance of this front area, of creating no demarcations through this front, is that we won't actually put any holes into her perimeter. So I might just slightly come back a little bit further. Got a bit more thickness there, a bit more thickness. So it's a bit safer to bring it back, about a comb and a half. I'll pop a clip in there, and then I'll secure the underneath. So Nicola, just get your hold that. Thank you. And then everything else just gets locked down behind the ear. Okay, so before we start, just looking at 1.5 combs width back. Now the further back you go, just as a recap, the more you're not going to mark into this hair perimeter baseline. I really find that quite beautiful as an entry point when you get a new guest, just to ensure that you've got her coming back enthusiastic about the shape and there's room for you to go, there's more space for you to move forward with. Then we're going to create this V shape coming back, and then curve shape through the back. So we're going to just tilt your head forward, Nico, just slightly curving that around, pop it back up. And we're ready to do some meshing. Now, one of the key critical factors here is you can create a wider wing through here if you want more presence on the outside edge, giving you more kick. So really up to you. I like to sort of focus on middle of the eyebrow as my markers for my corner points. So we're going to lift this up, we're going to mesh those roots, just very slightly. And again, the meshing just distorts the ends, make it really lift in. And then we've done that, we're going to aim. Now, I don't really like to see my wing any shorter than my esophagus because I like off-duty and on-duty wings. So if we bring that forward, bring it down, lift it straight across, and we're going to cut that straight across through there. Okay, so once we've done that with our shape, we're then going to come through here and put in our actual shape. So going in, use the anchor of your blade and create a really nice sharp point. Same on the other side. Same thing, edge. So you're creating a nice little tree through this top shape. Now we're going to age it really deep. Because they're so quick, the techniques, you just take your time. So once you bring this down, you'll see it come down into a nice pencil shape. We're now going to brush out everything from underneath. So if we bring out all that shape underneath through that, you'll see this just sit on top, and then you'll brush this out and it blends in beautifully. And I think the biggest key here is to give it a really good brush. Just to reveal the shape, just going in, putting your wing, your hands have to go down where your marker was, and then just give yourself that, turn it out, and create this really nice wing, really nice shape through here. You've got your shoulder pads, and you really see the transformation within the shape. Really subtle, really beautiful through that. And I think that's the space you want to be in hairdressing, is that subtlety and sustainability within your shape. So I find that too many times we're going straight to toms, we're going straight to styling, where we have to actually explain to the guest, this is the raw base foundation of the haircut. So if we're working with hairspray and just opening this up very gently, creating that space. All right, so it's an amazing shape, really simplistic and very organic. I really love and encourage hairdressers to work down that organic process where haircuts don't look like a haircut at the end. They look really believable and really natural. Nicola, what I want to do now is just flick it over to an off-duty look and just show an alternative with this look. I like to give my guests 2 alternatives, so one's like by day, one's by night, and just so that she can actually feel like she's putting on a new outfit. We like to call the hair the jacket of the face. So really, when she leaves your salon, she's got an alternative look that's quite easy to go to if she's feeling like she needs a lift or a new look. Because if you've got one hairstyle for that guest for 8 weeks, she's going to get bored pretty quick. And that's why I find when people come in and they're a bit flat and they're like, look, I'm over my hair, it's because they're one size fits all. Okay, so as you can see, we've got a different style option. It's much more formal. So we give our guests 2 pivoting styles to really help them with their style wardrobe. So they've got one that's more ready to wear, and they've got one that's a little bit more formal, more luxe, to give them an aspirational look. And ultimately, you end up with a very resolved experience where your guest feels quite full and confident to take on these new looks herself. However, if she does suggest that, you know, I never could do my hair like that, I'd never be able to do my hair like that, or I can never be as good as you do my hair like that, I do highly recommend that you suggest to her to come in and you'll train her to get her hair up to a really beautiful Harper's or Marie Claire level. So, what do you think, Nika?
I don't know.
Pretty happy?
I can't see out of one eye. So.
Oh my God, you couldn't have even lied in front of all these people?
I feel great!
Yay!
Woo! We're done!
Wow, so I hope you enjoyed those beautiful techniques. Now we have a beautiful offer for Hair Raisers Fellowship viewers. Anyone that books a course with DCI Education from now till December will receive a year subscription to our online streaming service. So there's over 2,000 hours step-by-step techniques from many different experience levels. So if you're looking to do a course with DCI from now till December, you'll get that streaming service complimentary. So the course offerings we have is our build course, which is designed for really apprentices, so 1st to 3rd years, learning how to cut hair in a very positive way. It's a fun course. And then we have our grow course, which is designed for how to cut hair really expensive. It's a really stunning, very clean lines, and very classic. Then we have our Thrive course, which the technique I shared with you in this beautiful presentation was part of that. So it's learning how to cut shape in the bone structure in a very innovative way to really revitalize yourself as a hairdresser. And then finally we have our short course, which is designed on how to remove fear from short hair. So we're cutting shapes in the bone structure, we're working with hair textures and growth patterns and really creating bespoke shapes. But it's a really fun process. So if you're looking to book any of those courses, when you're booking this online, put hashtag HairRaiserFellowship in the online booking form, and you'll automatically receive 1 year free subscription to our online streaming service. So again, there's 2,000 hours of step-by-step videos in many different experience levels, so for you and your team. And finally, I just want to say a massive thank you for Stevie and the entire crew that are working tirelessly to deliver all of these education learning to our beautiful hair community in Australia. It's an amazing awareness campaign, and I feel really grateful to be part of this, particularly sharing it with my daughter, which is the first time of many. So yeah, thank you very much. On behalf of DCI Education, myself, Veronica, and Nicola, cheers.